Like MVP might be taking over the disc golf market.
There's 3 keys to disc golf: driving, approaching, and putting. You need all 3 to do this disc sport.
What is up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at some remixed discs. Now, this name has been kind of, been thrown around in the disc golf scene lately. Bodanza did 2 videos that kind of go really in depth about these discs. I'll actually link those down below because I'm not going to get too in depth about kind of the behind the scenes. I'll let him tell you about that, so go watch those if you're interested in more. But huge shout out to my guy Clint. He actually sent me an email. He was like, hey man, I want to send you some Frisbees. He didn't tell me what they were. 2 days later, these show up. I got a remix discs Ronin, which kind of feels like some, I don't know, maybe Thunderbird-ish. I just held it up next to my Construct, and it's somewhat similar, definitely a lower speed than that. It's not quite a Vodum, but definitely I think kind of fills that same category of like slightly overstable, maybe 7 speed. And then the Torpedo, which basically I think is a Pathfinder or a Mustang. I just held it up next to my Pathfinder that I've been throwing as well. So today we're just gonna toss these things around, test them out a little bit, and see what we think. Just on first impressions, I don't know what MVP plastics are called, but the S-line-ish blend, and then we have a glow here. These are definitely both more flat than the Pathfinder that I was throwing, which is like the swirly plastic. So that's kind of my only comparison I have to how these are gonna fly. I've never thrown a Mustang. It is a little breezy out here today as well, so we'll see what happens. Straight flight, hyzer finish. Try and put this one on a little like Annie push. Okay, so they got some stability to them. Now this Ronin is actually a disc. As soon as I took it out of the package, I felt it, and it just felt really good. It felt like it was kind of in between that that Firebird, Thunderbird slot, like a little less T-Bird-ish than the Thunderbird, if you know what I mean, and a little more like smooth rimmed. Also a nice stiff plastic. So this one I'm really excited for. I'm gonna be throwing this on some forehands and backhands today. Oh God. We all suck at something. Also guys, my tripod leg literally just broke and I got it like jimmy rigged on here. So if halfway through this video, the footage starts seeming a little wonky and it's like all not straight up and down, that's probably because I had to use my bag as like a monopod for the fucking tripod. So we'll see. Hopefully she holds on for the rest of the video. Ronin, I'm sorry, man. Didn't mean to disrespect you like that. Ooh, Peach. So if you're a regular on the channel, you probably know that I'm a big feel guy. And the Ronin is one of those discs where I felt it and immediately I was like, if this thing flies how I think it's gonna fly based on the feel, it might make the bag, to be honest. It feels very nice, very smooth hand feel. So we'll see how it flies today. I'm gonna try and make some putts today. Putt's been feeling decent lately, working on a flat release. Oh God, see ya. So this green Torpedo is actually one I'm kind of excited about as well. If you saw my Thought Space Pathfinder Buzz SS battle, you know that I gave it a little test run in the bag. Unfortunately, it did not make the bag. As I continued to throw it, it kind of just flew similar to my stable Buzz SS, so there was really no use for it. It'll be interesting today because this is much flatter than that Pathfinder that I had, and I'm hoping this is like more stable, so this could potentially make the bag. If it's like, I need something between the Ultra and my stable Buzz SS's. Right now I'm also trying out Strider in that spot, and that thing's flying really nice, so we'll see how this flies. A little sore today, guys, not gonna lie. I've been playing a lot of disc golf. Torpedo, power grip. What kind of wind do we got here? Left to right, so this will be good to see how it holds up in the wind. That thing is beefy. I'll tell you right now, with how my body feels today, I don't know if these throws will be completely accurate because I feel as though I'm not getting any snap on them. Oh, yeah, that was beef too. I'm gonna hit this Ronin on a flex line, kind of see the stability. Oh yeah. Very stable Thunderbird-ish for me, I would say. So I guess I can cover a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes of remix discs it's MVP, but it's available on Amazon for anywhere between, I think, $10 to $12 for premium plastic. Now, the rumor is they're just these same molds that are already out on the market, just, you know, for a cheaper beginner market. And it's kind of like MVP's play on just getting into that like starter pack realm of disc golf. Like I said, the Torpedo is supposed to be a Pathfinder or a Mustang. Not sure on this Ronin, but I'm loving how it's flying. It's just another one of those interesting things in like the disc golf market right now, where there's so much going on with manufacturers manufacturing discs for other companies, mainly MVP. But then they just had this like secret little company that's just on Amazon for like half the price of other, you know, stock run discs. And it's kind of like, it's kind of crazy because like this is high quality shit. I don't think it's any like factory second stuff. Like the plastic is the exact same. There's no flaws in it, but it's $10. Pretty solid little flex line, not like a full power shot. Float in there. Come on, baby. So here's like a close-up of the Ronin. Hopefully that focuses good. The Torpedo, very similar to a Pathfinder. So if you've like kept up with this, maybe you saw Bodanza's videos. He actually had someone from MVP, I think, reply and kind of explain the whole situation. But like, let me know, what do you think is the reasoning behind having these same molds potentially on the market just somewhere else for basically half the price? All right, we're gonna try these Torpedoes on a slight little forehand flick, a little left to right, so it should keep them stable. Really short one, so hopefully I got the touch for them today. Still trying to work on dialing that forehand back in. My elbow kind of comes and goes, so I haven't been throwing a ton. Oh my, almost ace out of the tree. Love that. Get stable. Come on, baby. Crushed it. It's honestly kind of crazy because MVP, I remember when they first came out with the Ion back in, I think, 2009. Me and all my buddies, we had to go get one. If you didn't have an Ion, you were not cool. You were a fucking loser, okay? And nowadays, you know, Innova has kind of been the king of disc golf forever, with Discraft maybe close behind. Right now, you could definitely argue that in terms of like popularity in the real disc golf scene, Discraft is #1. But I think MVP is making a push. Like MVP might be taking over the disc golf market. Seems like whenever I make a video and I'm like suggesting a disc or talking about a disc, my comments are all filled with a suggestion from MVP. Obviously, you probably realize I'm mainly an Innova guy, especially when it comes to like drivers, but MVP just seems to have this market in a fucking chokehold. Obviously, Simon Lizotte helps, but it's crazy. Come on. Oh, torpedo putt? Oh, I thought he was cracked. Oh, what? Which I guess brings me to another point of like all the top companies having these like sister companies, or like these companies that fall under the same umbrella. They're manufactured by them, you know, DGA for Discraft, Millennium and Infinite for Innova. And now you got like every new brand basically that's come out in the last few years under MVP. And it's interesting because obviously MVP is like newest to the market, or at least at a bigger scale. And you gotta assume that the MVP or Streamline or Axiom molds are what they consider the best ones. And then these have to be some sort of like secondary option. That has such nice stability. Peach? So stable, actually. I love it. Into the trees, so not great, but we're gonna try a little forehand through here. Oh, God, my forehand feels so bad right now. Oh, my body. It's telling me no. And it's weird because Innova seems to just be giving all the good molds to Infinite and Millennium. You know, you got the Scepter, you got the what is it called? The Exodus is an Eagle L. Like they give all these good molds, and then like Millennium has the Draco, which is, you know, I guess an 11-time Firebird. They just released the Calvin Vela, which I gotta assume is not a new mold. It's just one that Innova had on the back burner, and that thing seems pretty money. And then they got the Scorpius, which is just a true American classic of a destroyer mold that I would argue is much better than the current modern destroyers. And all these companies have these like secondary companies under them now. And I'd be interesting to see like the thought process between seeing like who gets what molds. And I would argue that Innova right now has like all their bad molds and they gave all the good ones to these other companies. And I don't actually know like a ton about molds and whatnot. I don't do any research. It's just kind of what I hear, you know, like through the grapevine, what speculation is out there. I think it's just an interesting topic, guys. Let me know, like, what do you think about the whole like mold sharing? It's weird because, especially with MVP right now, it seems like, okay, mint discs, thought space, now remix, they're like putting out the same disc, calling it something different. Yet you'll ask a guy and he'll be like, oh, I'm like a thought space diehard. And I'm like, but how can you be like a diehard when you could literally throw mint and throw the exact same discs? They just have a different name. So it's kind of like a weird territory where how can you be such a big fan of these discs when you can get them from another company? So you can't argue that these are the best ones ever because they literally have a different name at a different company. So you'd have to consider those also the best if you think they're the best. Like there's probably people out there who would consider the Thought Space Pathfinder to be the best mid-range on the market right now, but they wouldn't consider the Mint Discs Mustang or the Remix Torpedo the best mid-range on the market, even though arguably they're the same exact thing. Go in. Oh, it hit the fucking cage. Just based on the few throws I've got out here with that Ronin so far, it very much fills that like Thunderbird slot, I would say, for me, especially on like a forehand line. It feels very nice in my forehand grip. It's in my mind like what I wanted the Vodum to be in terms of like a little more stability and torque resistant. Not that the Vodum isn't a great disc, I love that disc, but the Vodum, especially after you throw them for maybe a month, they're more or less just dead straight. Whereas this thing feels like it's that little notch up in stability while not like losing the glide and not being like an Omen or like Firebird style disc. So I'm really enjoying this thing. All right, back to hole one, 351. Kind of a nice little distance here. I'm gonna try and get this Ronin right through this gap here. Flip it up on a hyzer forehand. Hopefully it's good. Guys, I'm throwing the gas today. My body's a little fucked. Yeah. You know, that thing is beefy. Guys, I'm like very conflicted on this Ronin. It's so good, to be honest. Like it feels amazing in the forehand. Seems to be very torque resistant. It just feels nice. So I just remembered Clint sent me a little cheat sheet. Remix Sports Ronin is supposed to be the Mint Discs Alpha, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Also, I guess the Torpedo, the Wild Discs Addicts Reborn. I don't know, I guess there's a fourth mold of like the Pathfinder out there. And then he also sent me the flight numbers for a Ronin. He says it's an 8-speed, 4.5 glide, turn 0, fade 2, which I would say is accurate. I could definitely see how it's an 8-speed because it definitely feels a little bigger than the Vodum, and it definitely feels a little bit smaller than the Omen, so 8-speed would fit. Maybe I'm just blanking on Frisbees as well, but I feel like, is there not a lot of 8-speeds out there? Like, is that an uncommon speed? I don't even know, to be honest. Oh my God. Guys, some days my shoulder just feels like ass. Oh, I was gonna go play a bigger course tonight and I think I'm gonna cancel that because my shoulder's kind of fucked up. Not fucked up, I guess it doesn't actually feel like it's hurt at all. It's just definitely a little sore. Threw a lot of Frisbees yesterday, and then I'm also an idiot and I carry my camera and tripod when I'm making videos with my right arm. So it's like between every hole and while I'm walking to every disc, I hold my camera up and talk with my right arm, and then I get to the disc and I'm like, fuck, my arm is absolutely dead. It's like doing a lateral raise with like, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 10 pounds for like a minute straight between every hole. Probably not the smartest idea. Props to Remix for their artwork as well. Like this is actually nice and clean, simple, but it's like, it's pretty sweet. One more little forehand smash on here. Guys, that thing is a beefcake. Like my forehand is definitely not snapping today, but that thing has some stability. Let's try this Torpedo on a forehand. Oh my God, that's going in the bag. That's literally going in the bag. Oh my gosh. Those torpedoes flew so nice. Like the torque resistance and how flat they are feel very, very nice for like that mid-range forehand. I think that green one, just because it's easier to find, is gonna probably make a little trial run in the bag, as well as this Ronin. Honestly, after the few more throws I've had with it, it almost falls more into like that really overstate. Like this is what they should have put out as the Omen instead of the Ronin, I guess, because like the Omen, at least the plastic I have, absolute beef, like unusable beef, and this thing, usable beef. Just gonna throw a couple shots to the practice basket over there, probably, I don't know, 200 feet away. Torpedo, I kind of like the name too, not gonna lie. Just throwing fucking torpedoes. Why is that so good? Go in. See, this is interesting though, because I've only had the opportunity to throw one Pathfinder. So maybe if I got a nice flat stable Pathfinder, this is kind of how they'd fly as well. The one I have is slight dome, and it's definitely not this torque resistant. Wow. And like I was saying before, if you want to know a little more on the behind the scenes and a little more in depth on the remix discs, you know, lineup, go check out Bodanza's videos. I will link those down below. A lot of information in those if you're interested to learn a little bit more. I think it's kind of cool. He also reviews, I think, the entire lineup, so you can see more than just the two that I have. And give them a try, guys. If you're struggling, if you're on a budget, you know, go check these out. It's some quality plastic that competes more than ever with today's disc golf prices. Well guys, that's gonna do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed. Shout out to Clint once again for sending these over, remix discs. These things are pretty sweet. They feel really nice. I think these two are gonna have a little trial run in the bag because I'm definitely liking them. Pleasantly surprised with the stability of the torpedo, and very surprised with the stability of this Ronin. Just based on feel, I thought it would like flip up a little more, which isn't a bad thing that I think it's a little more stable. Also, I have an absolute noodle arm today. My body feels like absolute ass, and not the good kind either. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go home and try and get this body right. Got a ton of content planned here. Oh, but your boy is feeling a little dipped, to say the least. So thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one. Oh, I thought I just squared up the lens. All right, we're out of here.